What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Breakfast Club. I'm Agent of Doubt, filling in for Nate, who's inking himself to death right now. And this is a video response on the Breakfast Club to another Breakfast Club member, Paul, who a couple of days ago, by the time you see this, made a video called Why I Believe Dr. Blasey Ford. And part of this video is devil's advocate, but part of it is actually my opinion, and I'm going to let you know solidly which is which, right? Now, I am not a fan of the listen and believe movement in so much as it gets applied to things like the court of public opinion. Clinically, though, when I am with a client who I am counseling, it's always listen and believe, right? There's a difference between me being in a room with a client and just the four walls around us, and me listening to their story and supporting them in that moment, and me putting on my skeptical hat and trying to figure out what is the truth about an accusation. There is a difference between the roles of a friend or an ally or a clinician and a detective or a judge, right? So this whole listen and believe thing is very helpful as a slogan for what people should do if they know somebody who is alleging that they were sexually assaulted and they want to comfort them, right? It's a really great way to approach people, from the get-go. Even for detectives and officers of the law and judges, to at least put on the air of, let's hear you out, right, before we just shut you down. But when it comes down to deciphering what is true and what is not, listen and believe is the antithesis of being a skeptic, right? It flies in the face of all we know about logic and all that Pyrrho taught us about the need for people to prove their point in order for you to believe it, right? So at this point, at this juncture in this video, I'm going to bring on a special guest opinion. This is from Eagle Eye 1975, who sent me a Marco Polo chat, which I'm going to play for you all right now. Here we go. And this is Jared reminding us about what it means to be a skeptic inside the context of this Kavanaugh hearing.
So, all these people who seem to want to throw Judge or Justice or whatever, Kavanaugh, under the bus, I think a lot of them need to, turn in their skeptic cards, their critical thinking club cards. These are the very same people. These people who say, I believe the victim, or I believe the survivor. We believe survivors. Don't seem to understand that they are engaging in what can only be called circular reasoning. It's like, okay, so she's a survivor, huh? How do you know that? Survivor of what? A rape? Well, how do you know a rape happened? Well, because we believe her. Why do you believe her? Because she's a survivor. Why is she a survivor? Because she was raped. How do you know a rape happened? Because she said so. That's pretty much it. Furthermore, you can't prove a negative. And so these people saying, well, it's up to him to prove that he didn't do it. That's not how this works. These are the very same people who would recoil when Christians would say, well, prove that God doesn't exist. That's not how this works. The presumption of innocence until proven guilty is the cornerstone of our legal system. And this is something I wish a lot of people would point out. And, some people have, but then the rebuttal is, but this isn't a legal trial, this is a job interview. I'll grant you that. The thing is, we don't have the presumption of innocence until proven guilty because of our legal system. We have our legal system the way it is because of the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. The foundation of our legal system exists prior to the legal system existing, right? That presumption of innocence is the foundation that the justice system is built on, but it's also the foundation that civil society is built on. It's also the foundation that logic is built on. We have to build it on that. The presumption of guilt until proven innocent can't work because of, going back to what I just said before, you can't prove a negative. You can't prove you didn't do it. So if the accusation is enough to convict, then we're in a load of trouble. So it doesn't matter that this isn't a criminal trial. It doesn't matter that this isn't part of the legal system. What matters is that in all things we assume innocence of any charge unless there is evidence, compelling evidence, to indicate that the accusation is true. And as Christopher Hitchens has said, that which can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. I think it's hilarious just how hypocritical people have been on the left, these especially leftist atheists, who would go to the mat for, in terms of logic and reason, when it comes to their atheism, and point out all these things. They suddenly forget it when it means a political win for them. It's sad.
Now, on Jared's point of us losing our way when we practice listen and believe outside of clinical settings, outside of being a friend to someone, when we're trying to be a detective and we play listen and believe, I believe his point is very solid. That is not being a skeptic. That is not the way to find the truth. Right? And the rest of his opinion, I believe that's just me bringing the devil's advocate to this channel. And my actual opinion on this matter is, I don't know either way. Okay? To me, the existence of a calendar, a piece of paper that was written by Judge Kavanaugh, doesn't mean anything to me. The allegation having a couple of iterations through time where Dr. Blasey Ford might have mentioned it to somebody else also doesn't mean anything to me. Liars can tell a lie that lasts for years and decades, and they can have to build on their own lie later. I don't consider outcry witnesses to be significant enough to sway my opinion as to, do I know what actually happened? My opinion on this is that I don't know what happened, period. Right? But I'll tell you what I do know, and this is me agreeing with Paul. This is a 30-second clip from Judge Kavanaugh's reaction to this allegation in the hearing, and this is just a quick clip I'm going to play, right? You've probably heard it by now.
This whole 2-week effort has been a calculated and orchestrated political hit, fueled with apparent pent-up anger about President Trump and the 2016 election, fear that has been unfairly stoked about my judicial record, revenge on behalf of the Clintons, and millions of dollars in money from outside left-wing opposition groups.
Okay, so when I heard that in the hearing, I was like, oh my fucking God. This guy is not fit to be a judge at all. He is more fit to be an AM radio talk show host. This guy reminds me of Alex Jones. Like, Alex Jones gets deplatformed, and now we're going to give this guy the platform of the Supreme fucking Court. Oh my fucking God. When he says, this is an apparent thing, I'm like, how is it apparent? You haven't proven anything. Like, are you saying that there's some secret cabal behind the scenes collecting money in order to pay women to make accusations against you? Because that sounds fucking ludicrous. That sounds out of this world crazy. And I don't know if he's any better when he's not being accused by 4 or 5 different women of sexual assault. Maybe this is what you could expect from anyone who's going crazy because they've lived a good life and then they get, accusations like this when they are up for appointment to something, just because, people are afraid that he's going to flip Roe v. Wade. Maybe. But what I'm hearing is a man unhinged. Like, seriously, I'm seeing his bias, right? And maybe I'm only seeing it because of the pressure that was put on him. And it's like the fruit from a very poisonous tree. But we've had a glimpse of what is inside of him, and I don't like it. I might not have liked the way that we got here, but now that I've seen what he thinks inside of his mind, I'm like, no, do not fucking confirm. It doesn't matter if any of the allegations are fucking true. If he can believe that, if he can go down the rabbit hole of that conspiracy theory and believe that, and then spew it out for the world to hear it, I don't want to see him on the Supreme Court. And that's my opinion. Till next week, Breakfast Clubbers.